Michael here. Today's episode focuses on Britain's loudest band, the legendary Spinal Tap. Come with us as we crank it one louder and investigate the legacy that the Druids left in the living rock of Stonehenge. Welcome to I Got a Song. Good morning, good morning.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
How are you, Clay?
Oh, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Man, I am doing fantastic. I'm ready to chat about this song that I've got lined up for you.
You were just thrilled and itching, and that just gets me going. I'm excited too. I have no idea what this is going to be all about.
All right. Well, I hope you got your coffee.
I do.
I hope you got. I hope you're ready for some stimulating conversation because I'm about to take you on a ride, dog.
Check.
All right, man. This is episode 13.
Yes, sir.
Okay, episode 13 of I Got a Song, and boy, have I got a song for you. Now we toss the words around like iconic, influential, timeless. And I'm sure when I say those words, there's bands that come to mind immediately, artists
Sure.
that come to mind immediately. Give me a couple examples. Iconic, influential, timeless.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Rolling Stones.
Mm-hmm.
Elvis.
Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix.
All right. Yeah. All good stuff.
Pink Shiny Ultra Blast.
The ultimate. How did you know that's where I was going?
But really, Full Body 2 is where it's at.
Yes.
That song came on this morning, and I did not skip it.
Oh,
even though we did the episode last night, I did not skip it.
Very good.
All right, sorry to derail. Continue.
No. Okay, so there's all different parts to the formula that makes an artist iconic, influential, and timeless. Would you agree? Different. So music, how accessible the music is, how proficient the music is, as far as if the guys in a band are just terrible at their instruments and can't sing, then they're not going to be so influential or iconic, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and also like
the words are I don't know if you're touching on this or if I'm just like speaking out of turn, but it like these words I read them a lot and they get thrown around a lot.
They do, and that's part, I guess, kind of part of the point that I'm trying to make. What makes a band or an artist iconic, influential, and I guess my point is that it's a lot of moving parts. Again, music, accessibility.
When I think iconic, also I'm thinking longevity. I'm thinking there's somebody whose career has stood the test of time. For one,
Absolutely.
When you say iconic, you're not like
absolutely.
It's not. I mean, it's we just to use we like Full Body 2. They're great. They're a cool new thing, but they're not iconic yet.
Correct.
Right? I don't think.
Correct. No, you're right. And so there's a certain amount of longevity, even perhaps across a couple of generations, wouldn't you say? So like if let's say, I know your mom is hugely into music, especially from like the 60s, 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
Your mom can love something that is considered, iconic. And you love it as well. We talked about that a little bit on the Beatles episode. That's another artist that I would say is iconic and influential.
Yeah, 100%.
And it just gets passed on and passed on. So the band that I'm going to share is definitely iconic and timeless. They kind of got their start in the 60s. They had a couple of radio hits, got big in the 70s, kind of. In the 80s, they had what I guess you could consider like a farewell tour. They kind of got ready to call it quits, and they've been kind of in and out of the scene since, but they've been around a good while. Okay.
Okay.
And
I'm really, what in the hell is going on?
I'm just going to send it to you, and let's. Are you ready
Christmas
for this?
has arrived. Yeah,
here it comes. Here it comes.
It's
Get ready to
Christmas morning.
Unwrap. So I'm sending the link to Clay, and we're going to have a good conversation about who and what is about to come.
I did not see this coming at all. This is Stonehenge by Spinal Tap.
Okay, so iconic.
Am I wrong?
Iconic.
100% iconic, yes.
Influential.
Yes, completely influential.
Timeless.
Yes, absolutely timeless. They've been around and they will continue to be around long after they're gone.
Absolutely. All right. So we're going to jump into this thing. We're going to listen to Stonehenge by Spinal Tap and then break it all down.
My face is melting already.
Are you ready for this?
I am more than ready. Ready.
Let's do this.
At this point in the episode, Clay and Michael listen to the song and then come back to discuss it. For the best experience, we recommend that you do the same on your music platform of choice.
You have just been witness. You will bear witness to all that you just heard Stonehenge by the legendary British rock band Spinal Tap, once known as England's loudest band. Clay?
Well, welcome back to the show where the dewdrops cry and the cats meow.
Will you take me there? Will you show me how?
I will show you how. Oh my heavens.
So, initial thoughts, Clay?
I love Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
And I was not expecting a Spinal Tap song today, which makes it all the much more tasty and fantastic.
Well, you know Michael Long is going to keep you on your toes.
You sure are, sir, and you've done a fine job this morning.
A little background on Spinal Tap before we really kind of dig into the meat of the song. Again, they're a British rock band. Started in the 1960s. They had a more, I guess you could call it a psychedelic rock sound. I don't know. They had a string of hits in the late 60s and throughout the 70s. Their first kind of psychedelic hit was Flower People.
Yeah, listen to the Flower People.
Listen to the Flower People. And they really kind of morphed into a more rock, heavy metal, even heavy metal type of sound in the 70s. They were influential to, I would say, bands such as, I don't know, Black Sabbath. Black Sabbath was trying to copy Spinal Tap. And, you know, a lot of people consider Black Sabbath
pretty obvious
the originators of heavy metal. And there is some credence to that. But, man, you know, I'm trying to get the word out about Spinal Tap because not a lot of people give them their due credit. It's comprised of David St. Hubbins on vocal and guitar, Nigel Tufnell, vocal and guitar, Derek Smalls, vocal and bass.
Wait, Nigel is lead guitar.
Oh, excuse me, lead guitar. You're correct. Yeah. Nigel is lead guitar.
Yeah.
No disrespect meant there, Nigel. Man, you're the man. We could all be so lucky. Viv Savage is the most recent keyboardist, and they've had a string of drummers over the years. Quite a few drummers. They've had a bit of bad luck with their drummers, to be honest. A few examples would be Eric Stumpy Joe Childs, Peter James Bond,
Ross McLaughness, all these guys. You know, they were all lost. Danny Pudding,
yes. They were all lost in just such bizarre and odd ways. And it's a sad story, and it's kind of this black veil, this really heavy kind of
It's not very pleasant. It's not very pleasant to talk about.
It's this kind of albatross hanging on the band's neck ever since they started. But Yeah, that's Spinal Tap, man. And, just like I said, iconic,
You are
influential, and
not, yeah,
timeless.
we're like I was saying, throwing around those kind of words, it feels like that happens a lot. But whenever we're talking about rock royalty, it's not too much to say that these guys are absolutely iconic and that they are game
Yes,
changers.
of course. They didn't just change the game; they invented the game. You know what I'm saying? And man, I just
That.
I won't say that they faded into obscurity in the '80s, but they had started to kind of wane in their popularity until a
They had
documentary
that
was released.
documentary.
There was a documentary that came out in 1984, I believe. Spinal Tap had just signed on to do what they were considering was their farewell tour. They were I think they were kind of getting ready to hang it up. I'm not sure, but they were well past their prime. And they had signed a deal with this filmmaker named Marty DeBurgi to come in and film them. He was a fan of theirs, but here's the thing about the documentary: you've got to take it with a grain of salt because, as legendary as Spinal Tap is, I really fully believe that this documentarian, the filmmaker, really kind of had an agenda. As big of a fan as he claimed to be, I feel like he had an agenda, and there's so many things that go wrong throughout this.
Yeah.
Throughout their farewell tour,
and that the cameras just happen to be rolling,
and the camera is just
when these terrible,
But he didn't put in enough of the
successes,
the triumphs.
Yeah, the crowds, circling.
The crowd block. Pleasing. Yeah, he makes up for it in the end, and I won't spoil too much of the movie or the it's released in full. It's become like a cult favorite movie now, and you can buy it or rent it or whatever. But he does bring it back and provide a triumphant moment at the end, and kind of sends the band on their way after that. And it's a good moment, but man, he really kind of makes turns him into a bit of a laughing stock in the beginning and middle of the documentary. And so it's disappointing. It's really
what a shame.
But the guys are professionals. They handle it with great aplomb, and
I'm hoping. It's interesting that we're bringing this up now, because I am a big fan of the documentary, and from my understanding, there's going to be a sequel.
Is that right? I completely missed that there was going to be a sequel.
And I'm hoping that this will be the opportunity to right the ship for Mr. DeBurgi, as it were.
Well, we can only hope, because, like I said, there's enough wrongs done to the band throughout the documentary that the right at the end of it barely makes up for it. But man, it's such a great moment at the end of the documentary.
And again, it's triumphant when Nigel comes back on stage and rejoins the band. Chills every time.
Oh, of course, every time. And it, I have the documentary on disc at home, and I can watch it whenever I like, and it warms my heart at the end of the documentary. Throughout the whole thing, there's infighting among the band. There's problems with management. There's problems with outside influences to the band. Various girlfriends, wives, or whatever they are, and but the band, the band comes together at the very end, and they nail it, dude. They nail it, and
they're professionals.
There's even a moment.
They rose above it.
When they rose above it, they're professionals. They rose above it, and there's this moment at the end towards the end, where you think that the band is going to basically falls apart. Like, one of the founding members is basically ousted, or no, he's not ousted. He quits because he's so frustrated. And that's understandable. That's human nature. But it's, these guys, David St. Hubbins and Nigel Tufnell were, childhood friends. and the friendship endures. At one point Nigel quits
even
the band.
even before they were Spinal Tap, they were the Timsmen, like
The
in the
Timsmen,
50s,
absolutely, yeah.
the famed skiffle group.
Yes.
And then, you can find little bits of footage. Unfortunately, a lot of it's been lost to time, but it can be found. It's out there.
It is out there, and
it's worth your time.
It is worth your time, and these guys, they love each other, and there's always going to be infighting in your family. You know what I'm saying?
Sure,
but
yeah,
Nigel,
brothers always
exactly.
They talk about that,
and
it's a powerful scene.
It's powerful, and they've got such a good mold within the whole band as a group. Like Derek Smalls, the bassist. I mean, he tends to be the mediator quite a bit, and he kind of helps keep the glue together. He
because you've got two visionary artists.
Yes, there's
in Nigel and Mr. St. Hubbins,
of course, and
I believe the analogy in the documentary is they're like fire and ice.
Yes, they're like fire and ice, and really, Derek, as you see throughout, you can see it even early in the documentary that Derek really is kind of the mediator. I mean, he even refers to himself as lukewarm water compared to that fire and ice, and it's fitting. It's so fitting.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's these guys, even their farewell tour had some setbacks. I would say they lost yet another drummer in the middle of their farewell tour. They were getting ready to call it quits. They were already making their plans for after post Spinal Tap, and they found out that they scored a tour in Japan, and so they reformed and went to Japan.
Yeah, due to the strength of a single.
Yes,
Sex Farm, I believe, is a big hit.
Yeah, it was a big hit
in Japan.
In Japan, yeah. And they persevered over their
turns out they were huge in Japan,
and they were huge in Japan. But they got over there. Their current drummer at the time was Mick Shrimpton, and
he's in a lot of the documentary. They got a lot of
throughout the documentary.
Footage of him
throughout the course of the documentary. He is their current drummer. Seemed like a great dude. Held a good beat, but man, they get on the road in Japan, and Mick just died suddenly in the middle of a show. It's really quite shocking. But
fortunately, Joe Mama Besser was available to take over.
Yes. And so these guys have had so many bumps in the road, but they've risen above it all, and they've provided this catalog of music that just is unmatched, except for a few. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Few bands have done what Spinal Tap have done.
Correct, and live to tell about it.
Well, correct.
Except for the drummers.
Yes.
But
this is such a fantastic song. It's really, really made my day.
Well, so what is it that you like about Stonehenge? What is it about Stonehenge that speaks to you? I could have chosen any songs. I could have gone Rock and Roll Creation. I could have gone something as sophisticated as Big Bottom.
Yeah. It's just not.
But I went with
often.
Stonehenge because of there's different elements to it. There's extra things in there above and beyond your typical rock song. There's the I don't know what you call them, but it's like
it's like a lute that he's playing.
Lute, yes.
Yeah, and in the documentary, it's when there's the dancers on the stage.
Yes, correct. And hello. Hey, true to form, we had a technical difficulty right in the middle of our episode talking about a band that has had to endure so many technical and personnel difficulties over the years, and it's just so fitting, so fitting.
So, but like them, we're going to be professionals and we're going to rise above it.
Absolutely, you know.
We're not going to have a fit. The show must go on.
The show must go on, absolutely. And we are back.
We are back.
So we were getting into the meat of the song, Stonehenge by Spinal Tap. And I was going to ask you, what draws you to this song? Like, what do you enjoy about this song? Like, what are the highlights of this song for you?
You're not just listening to your typical arena rock, heavy power chords. You've got that. You've got those moments where the, you know, but you've also got this, you know, like this minstrel thing going with the ukulele. Not ukulele. It's like a lute, right? Like
so very similar to a lute, or it may even be a lute. I'm not sure, but yes.
And so you get that in there, and then you've got the mythology, the Greek. You know, you can imagine the triptychs and the just the visuals. You know,
just the visuals alone. I mean, everyone.
The song paints a picture.
It really does. It takes you to a time and a place that you're not sure where you're at or who you're with or what they're doing, but you're there. You're there with the band. You're going on that journey with the band.
It's about the Druids, and nobody knows who they were or what they were doing.
But he takes you there. You know. Yep. And so, musically speaking, I mean, it's such a tight song. It's such a tight song. These guys are all very good musicians. Very good musicians. The raw power
and the energy, and it's just magical.
It is. It really is. It really is. There's something in Spinal Tap's sauce that just has not been replicated or duplicated since, and because of that, they are that band that I was talking about at the beginning, that iconic, timeless, influential band. And
it again.
And so you know, that's what they did to me, and you know, I'm ashamed to say that prior to seeing the documentary myself, I my goodness, we are back. We are really struggling with those technical difficulties today, but hey, we said before, we're going to rise above it. We're going to keep on trucking. Clay, you with me?
It's such a good song, man. The power, and it's the rock and roll, and you're in a stadium, and there's, you know, the lights might flicker, the lights might go out for a minute. You know, there might be some smoke somewhere.
Yeah,
an amp might be on fire, a drummer might be on fire. You don't know, but you're there, and it paints a picture, man, and it's magical. And it's such a great picture. It's such a great song. You've done such an amazing job, sir.
Well, thank you very much. And man, this has been such a fun episode, even with the technicality problems. Spinal Tap, Stonehenge. Go check out their album. Go check out the documentary. It's been around for a while. The documentary came out in '84. Go check it out. See what you think. Dig into their catalog, and you know, down the road, we have gotten word that they do plan on filming another documentary, and hopefully this time Marty DeBurgi will. You know, set the record straight. He's had quite a bit of time to contemplate the way he framed Spinal Tap from before, and hopefully with some feedback, he'll make things right.
I think he'll right the ship, as it were.
I believe so too.
Well, people, you know, it's been a pleasure as always. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, share music with people. It's such a great gift. And Mikey, I really hope that we can do this together again someday. Will you do me the pleasure in joining me for future podcasts?
Oh, I don't know. What are the hours?
Hey, we really appreciate you listening to the show today. If you enjoyed it, feel free to listen to the rest of our catalog and share it with your friends. Go ahead and follow us And you can find me on Instagram at Clay Dang Collins. Thanks a lot. We'll see you on the next one.